All right, hi. I'm going to just review some things that we covered in class, but also to make sure you have it all set up correctly for Monday's class. Most of your model should look like this. This is kind of the direction and shape we were drawing in class. And I want to go over making sure your walls are on the correct tags, basically north, south, east, and west, because that is going to matter in class on Monday. It's going to help us kind of zoom into our views a little bit more easily when we go to cut out, say, like the opening for the hallway here, and also add doors and windows too to these areas. So what you want to do is, so for the non-Mac people, make sure you have default tray here. If you don't see that there, you're going to go up to window and just make sure to turn on default tray. And these are the things you want to have checkbox, because again, these are kind of defaults that we're going to go back and forth and use. So that's one way to turn it on there too. You also, it's helpful to have this little bit here up in your kind of control buttons up here. So to get that again, you go to the view toolbars, and then that one down here is tags. So you want to make sure that's checked and opened up. And most of you should have these settings here. This is something extra. This is that Enscape that makes it photorealistic. So you don't have those buttons yet. So that's fine. It's just that my version has it. So I'll kind of bring that up again just to review to make sure everybody's got what you should have checked off. So you want construction. Actually, you can uncheck diffusion. You don't need that. Enscape, getting started, large tool set, and then it's styles and tags, and then views and warehouse. So those are the ones for non-Mac folks. Mac folks, I know we kind of worked it out in class where some of your like drop-down menus up here had those options that would then come up as like smaller windows over here. But this is, we want to be able to see this part, and we want to be able to see this part here. So if to sort of double check that they're on the right layer, if, for example, I'm going to kind of highlight this wall. So technically this is going to be my north wall. So if you've done it correctly, you'll see over here that it'll say north wall. So I haven't yet tagged mine. I just kind of redid this quickly at home. So I'm going to now, instead, this is how you can fix it if it didn't show up, click north wall. Then if I click over here in blank space, I can kind of double check that. I can click that, and now it is on north wall. So I'm going to just go through slowly and kind of put these all in the tag that I want them in. So this wall is going to be west. So it's again, and there's a couple extra layers in mine just from other stuff I was doing with this model. And then to kind of get over to these other sides, you're going to use the pivot tool. And again, I'm going to, at the end of the video, sort of review some of these tools because we sort of dropped you in the program on Thursday, and then we're going to muck around in it more. So this guy here is your pivot tool. You can also, if you have a mouse, watch how I'm kind of like holding down on my mouse. And that's, if I hold down on the middle wheel, that also gets me the pivot tool, but I can pick it from here, or it's also over here somewhere. There it is. So that's the orbit tool. So I'm going to now kind of spin my model around, and that's some extra stuff up there. So these are going to be my east walls here. So now I've spun it around a little bit. So I'm going to go over and get my pointer over here. So it's kind of in both corners. As you get more comfortable, you can kind of get rid of some of this stuff, but I find it helpful to have it down the left and across the top. So these are all going to be east walls. So I'm going to go over here, put them on the east wall here. So there it is there. And now to get back to kind of my default setting of kind of having this in my bottom left corner, the default isometric view is this button right here that looks like a little house. So, oh, it's kind of not, is it? All right, so let me just pivot around that way. So I'm going to go that way. Apparently that is not the default on mine. But now I want to get this south wall. So I'm going to spin my cursor around this way and get it. So I'm going to go like this. And then I'm going to get my south wall. Oh, it's down here. Okay, let me see what it does when I go back to the default. That's weird. Okay, so we're going to go this way because this is actually the default I want to have to start with. Another way to check if you've done this correctly is basically turn off the little eyes to turn it on and off. So I'm going to start with my north. There goes my north. That's good. My south. There goes my south. My west and my east. Okay, that's perfect. That's what we want, because then on Monday's class, we're going to use this. So for example, some of these presets are going to give you basically side elevations of the house. So let's start with this one. So this is, I think, going to get us into we're looking north now. Let me try to turn off the south wall and see what happens. Nope. All right, maybe it's looking north, up, west. There we go. Okay. So when we go into now, say like put in our front door, this is the plane that we're on here to cut into there. So it kind of gives us some options to be able to see where we are a little bit better. So let me kind of turn that back on. And then we can kind of shimmy around the house again. And oops, I'm way out here because I've had some extra garbage. So this is now looking at my model. I think this is my south or my north wall. Yep, there we go. So some of this we're going to kind of muck around with in class on Monday, and that'll give us a chance to then, like I said, get into these views a little bit easier because as you're kind of getting used to this model, it's not always, it's kind of a steep learning curve to figure out how to kind of like shimmy in here and kind of move around. Because see, if I wanted to cut a window into here, then this wall gets in my way. So we're gonna like use these turning the walls basically on and off to our advantage on Monday's class. So before I kind of turn this video off, I just want to review some of the icons up here just to help us kind of everybody be on the same page. So this is kind of our select tool here. This is an erase tool again. So if I wanted to like erase that whole wall, let's see if I do it like that. But you can also always in this program do Control Z. We'll bring it back up. That's my drawing command tool right there. This guy is how we draw an arc. This draws a rectangle, but shapes. But if we click the down button, there's more shapes here. Over here, they're kind of, you can see the icons themselves. So there's circles and polygons and all sorts of arcs too. This is that pull tool that'll be really important to basically, if we have a flat object, to give it mass and volume. This is called offset. We're going to play with this more as we draw other things, but basically it helps kind of like copy and make a duplicate a few inches over. This is your move command. So you're going to use this a lot when you bring in your furniture. This is your rotate. Same thing. We're going to use that a lot as we bring in our furniture. This guy is a little funky. Actually, let me make you a square really quick and we'll talk about that. Okay, so I'm going to now pull this guy. All right, so to rotate things, we're going to kind of select the whole thing. So if I'm selecting the whole box, and with rotate, what you have to watch is what plane it's on. So here I'm basically on the ground. So then see how I can kind of like rotate it around like that. Then, but if I'm on this plane, I'm rotating it like that. And same if I go this way, I'm going to rotate it up, down, basically. So there's a lot of ways to play with this. The nice thing is really easy to undo it if you're not on the kind of correct plane that you want to spin it around on. There's also, this is mirror. So if I wanted to create a mirror object of this, it's kind of brand new. They've changed how this guy works. So I'm still actually fussing with this one. So it works a lot better when you have furniture. You can kind of see it a little bit better. So we'll play with it in class with our furniture too. But the other thing is this is a tape measure tool. So for example, if we're going to use this on Monday's class to figure out where our windows are. So say if we knew like one window is 6 feet over, we'll go like this. It gives us a little guideline. So this is a really helpful tool. This is our paint bucket. The nice thing is we don't just paint in paint colors. We can paint in all sorts of textures and say like wood flooring and lots of pictures like that. So once we get this model where we're starting to put things in, then we're going to play around with that a lot and how to also make custom ones. This is again is our orbit, kind of like that. This is pan. So this is just going left and right. This is our zoom. This is what's called zoom extents, meaning it's going to zoom out and show you everything in your model. So I have kind of our floor plan over here. You're going to learn how to do this when we get into CAD, but I'm going to get rid of it now. I just did that for my homework because I didn't have my own floor plan at home for this guy. So that's kind of the main commands. These are the warehouse buttons right here. So this is the one that gets you to Google Warehouse, the 3D warehouse. Sorry, I said Google. It used to be owned by Google. It's now owned by Trimble. This gets us to the 3D warehouse. And again, lots of you are already jumping in there and getting all the stuff you need. So again, this is the same kind of commands here, but there's a few more options down here, like for dimensions. We can measure a tool or we can have a permanent dimension put in. We can have a protractor. We can have labeling and things like that. We'll play with this as we get sort of farther along, probably not so much this semester, but because we don't really need to put dimensions in this. But this is also animation stuff we can kind of get through later on too. But so far you're all doing great. And again, you're going to learn this as we go. So I'll be like tutoring you through all of this and hopefully have some fun because again, this is one of the softwares that our program you're going to be using from here on out for the next like 3 years or so. And you're going to be using similar ones that act like this too when you get to Revit. It's going to be a similar kind of concept to it. All right, so hopefully this is helpful. And again, I'll see you on Monday and we'll kind of keep moving along with this.